My name is Ampofo. I'm a professor of African and Gender Studies at the Institute of African Studies at the University of Ghana, Legon, where I've been teaching since 1989. The African Studies Association of Africa was formed in 2013 at the Institute of African Studies when we were celebrating our 50th anniversary. So let me start by saying that this attempt at formation of a continental association is not a brand new effort. There have been different iterations, and there are, of course, other associations that are interested in doing some of the things that we seek to do. So the very short history to this current formation of the ASAA is a conversation that Professor Lungisili Nsebeza and myself, who were introduced to each other by Tichwa Menu at a Codestria meeting, had in the early 2010-11 thereabouts. And subsequently different meetings on his campus and my campus. Anyway, in 2013, the association was formed when the Institute of African Studies at Legon was celebrating its 50th anniversary. Right from its birth, the ASA decided that we would have these biennial conferences on university campuses across Africa. And the reason for this is that we want the students and faculty on the campuses or in the countries that we visit to be able to be part of the conference. We've noticed that with other international conferences that are held at big hotels, it makes it difficult in some cases, for people to be a part of this because you have to be embedded in the hotel ecosystem, if you like. So having our conferences on university campuses means that students who are not necessarily registered for the conference can still walk into sessions. They can see a name of someone that they are interested in speaking to or listening to and pop into the site. They can even ambush the person, if you like, on the way to him or her picking up a cup of coffee or cocoa and say, "Hi, I'm, Akosua Dumako. I'm a third-year economics student, and I heard you this morning. I'd like to have a conversation." So this is why we rotate among university campuses. So we had our first biennial international conference in 2015 at the University of Ibadan, had the next one in 2017 at the University of Ghana, and we're going to have our third biennial conference this year in October from the 24th to the 26th at the United States International University in Nairobi, Kenya. It is absolutely essential that there must be an African Studies Association of Africa on the African continent, because we cannot take it for granted that a university sited on the continent is necessarily an African university. And so African discourses, African paradigms, African epistemologies, connecting with African colleagues must happen on African soil, in as much as it's still important to have them in other spaces as well. The debates we engage with on the continent are not necessarily the same debates that are happening globally, or they are not necessarily of the same significance. So when we're meeting together on the continent, it means that we can prioritize the debates. It's our association. We can say that 1, 2, 3, these are the most important issues and we want to engage with them. It also means that we get to know each other. Very often when our younger colleagues and our students, and even those of us who are more senior, travel to other sites, we get to know the most prominent names within African studies and African conversations who inhabit other schools, other ecosystems, other locations. And our students, we notice very often, cite those individuals, and yet there's so much important work going on the continent, and our students haven't had the opportunity to meet these the individuals who are engaging in that work. And for the ASA, one of our most important targets is the next generation, the emerging scholars as they have been called, because many of us who have been part of forming associations like the ASA, we are in our twilight years. We will be retiring. We must pass on the baton, and it's important that we engage with the next generation and have conversations that mean that our DNA continues to survive, the conversations continue to survive even as they change, direction or emphasis, and it's really important for us therefore to have these conversations on the continent. The theme for this year's conference is African and Africana Knowledges, Past Representations, Current Discourses and Future Communities. So we focus on African and Africana because we want to underscore that there have been unnecessary bifurcations in the lives of Black people globally. We've looked at the continent and the diaspora as if they are two separate spaces and two different communities of people, where in fact it's just a continuity of experiences. And our experiences are not so different. We have a common history, we have experiences as a result of global economic orders and systems that are not so different. The difference really is in our location and in the ways in which global economies have evolved. We are particularly interested in doing some past recovery, and obviously this is something that is ongoing, is happening in different sites. The whole decolonial discourse that has been resurrected in recent years among younger people on university campuses is evidence of this. We feel that in this conference in 2019, it's important for us to have that conversation and sort of lay it side by side with where we are now, so that we can establish, what's been done, and not only to recognize the people who've done great work, but to have a bit more of a seamless conversation between our histories and the contemporary work that we do. And of course, our main aim is to have a brighter future, and the whole notion of Afrofutures has become very topical now. It's probably a more contemporary term for the kinds of things that Du Bois and scholars talked about in the work that they were doing in the Atlanta movement, for example. So we invite you all to join us in Nairobi at the United States International University of Africa. You're bound to have a very exciting time, and it's not just about the intellectual and academic discourse. There'll be films, there'll be a lot in the art realm. We have scholar activists also joining us, there'll be performers. We'll have some trips into the city of Nairobi to see what's going on in the art scene and in intellectual engagement in Nairobi. And there are several pre-conference workshops that we invite you to apply to. They are filling up fast, so if you want to be a part of those, you really need to get in there and put your application in. And I look forward to speaking to as many of you personally as possible.